Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Dojo Live. This is the last show of 2019. Very excited that you're here. We're broadcasting live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you have a question during the show, just post it right on the stream. There are folks in the background watching it who can post those questions and we can submit them to our guests. Today, I'm excited to have Janis Sprenne. Did I say that right?
Perfectly.
Sprenne, as our guest. And we're going to talk to him about what it takes for digital agencies to do business today. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Janis, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us about your background. And let's get started.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So my journey started, I think, when I was 12, when I decided that I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So since 12, I was reading all the business newspapers, all the business sections, and learning as much as possible. And in 2007, I think, I founded my first company, and it happened to be a digital agency. I ran it for 10 years. And we ended up like a top performance agency in my home country, and working with banks, telecoms, and funded tech startups. But my strive for big business always were getting me to the next level. So this is how we founded Fulfilly, going after this big tech business.
Great. So, Janis, where are you right now? Where are you checking in from?
Yeah, I'm from Riga, Latvia, and I'm currently here in Riga, in the beautiful Riga.
Fantastic. So we have Latvia, we have Hermosillo, Mexico City, and Los Angeles. We've got a nice mix of people from 4 different cities on the show today. Janis, love to hear about your business, your company. Tell us a little bit how that came to be and what it is that you guys are doing. What's your value proposition? Just give us a little background about your business.
Sure. So at that agency I was running, our success came from fully automating lead generation, lead acquisition, and we were generating hundreds of leads a year. And I actually didn't know that other agencies don't have that much exposure to new business. We internally were like thinking that it's a problem. We have too many leads. Like every day there will be 5 to 10 new opportunities. And I'm a sales guy. I'm like always telling my team that we need to take care of all of them. And so we decided, if we can automate lead acquisition, let's automate the first interaction as well. And we launched this website cost calculator, an interactive form that would help people navigate our services and pricing. And it just exploded. It landed us 15,000 organic visits the first month when we launched it. And we understood people just need help to navigate this all the digital world and services and pricing. And so we decided to go all in on this idea to help people. And this is how Fulfill was started 3 years ago.
Great. So what's the main focus of Fulfilly? Is it helping? I'm sorry, someone's clicking. Please mute yourself, guys. What's the purpose of Fulfilly? Are you dealing directly with customers looking for agency, or are your customers agency?
We are still an early stage company, and we don't have the offer like the product market fit, but we have some traction and some good developments. And what we are doing, our value proposition for agencies, that we are gonna help you build a top agency, and there are so many details to it and we are now going through with our agencies together to solve them. But in essence, in the next year, we are planning to become like a platform for technology platform like Shopify for digital agencies. You just can start and run a digital agency on Fulfilly.
Interesting. So what's today's topic, Carlos, if you don't mind introducing today's topic so we can go right to this?
I don't mind at all. Glad to share it with you. Today's topic is finding a digital agency's offer market fit, or In other words, learnings from building an agency business development platform on how to turn a better digital agency business. So, Janis, I'd like to ask you, why did you choose this particular topic? Can you elaborate on that, please?
So we were always like innovating within our company, within our agency, how to become a better business, and it is a matter of efficiency. So automating stuff, and you've heard that many times. I think that everything that an agency does today will be automated, and that starts with the business development part of it. Like, where do you get new clients? What processes do you have? How do you interact with them, etc.
I think it's fascinating because as a customer, I would want to hire an agency to help me get new clients, right, and maintain relationships. But what I'm hearing is that those agencies have trouble finding clients themselves. Why is that, first of all? What's the biggest challenge that you've seen so far?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge is that it's estimated there are 500,000 digital agencies, and the current channels are not efficient. They are not made for it, and we estimate that in the coming 5 years there will be 1 million new agencies coming to the world, and which means that if you have only 10 search results on Google, and there are a few other channels where you might want to go for leads, they all have bottlenecks that are long taken, and you just don't get the exposure to those channels.
So is it okay? So what's the biggest challenge? Is it a technical issue? Is it a misalignment with what people need? What is it that you're actually helping them solve?
We are helping to solve structural issues because when you start an agency, you get your first client, you practically are busy from clock to clock, and but what you need to continue do for years and years is to build out your brand, build out your presence, your leadership branding, and many other things, including your processes, your services, your value proposition, your presence online, and it's massively expensive. And if you're just starting with a 1-2 person team, you practically can't afford it, and yeah, so that would be the main reason, I think.
So I'm thinking to myself, if I were to start an agency today,
yeah,
there's so many things that I need to do, right? First, I got to have the structure, which is where you guys can come in and help, right? I need to have a platform for either building funnels or what have you to effectively manage the business, the day-to-day business. That's called a platform to run the agency, right?
That's correct.
Then I have to find a way to help my clients build trust with their clients, because ultimately all these decisions are made based on trust, right? But I can't build trust if I'm not tuned into what the needs are of my clients. In other words, if I don't actually create value, or at least represent value that's perceived by those customers as important to them. How do you make that happen? Is that, from your experience, where does that fall apart, and where do companies who do it well, what is it that they do well that other people could replicate?
So there are so many things to it, but the main difference from successful agencies and unsuccessful agencies are internal processes and procedures, and obviously also those personalities behind those agencies are important. Do you have the grit and commitment and patience to establish a good organization that delivers value? Yeah,
so when you say personality, what do you mean? Like the managing director, for example, that type of personality can dictate the outcomes of an entire agency? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So every agency is different because of personalities leading those agencies. And let's say you start a digital agency today, you will be the face of that agency, and people will listen to you and make their assumptions and based on what they hear and see. And if you change head of any agency, that agency, big or small, will change entirely and will more lean into those personal traits of that new person. If that answers.
Great. So I think Laura had a question for you. This is a good question, I think. Go ahead, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Yes. So I have a question. So how did you get there? I mean, from being an agency to an agency businesses that helps other agencies to grow. How was your path to get there?
Yeah. So imagine you're running an agency and you're getting huge number of business opportunities, and you want to help solve those. As a business person, like my idea was not to like skip 90% of those leads and not to talk to them like most of agencies do. I was thinking how to automate myself out of that situation so that everyone is nurtured and talked to. So we were like building an automation tool for ourselves internally, and we realized that that's a huge opportunity that can help many others, and so we found a niche in what we were doing.
When you say niche, are there other players that also provide these kinds of platforms and solutions for agencies?
There are players, and actually this is a huge topic, because if you, the one who will figure this out the first will be a huge business. That's the next unicorn, and there are at least 20 teams competing, and we've gone that way too. So, but many of them have the feel of a directory. So you would list hundreds or thousands of agencies. Like for example, we have 60,000 digital agencies on file. So and we estimate that's 12 or 13% of all agencies in the world currently. So there is a market for that.
I think Carlos has a question, but I'm gonna hold mine for a little bit later.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Actually, there's something that I'm whenever I talk to someone about the digital realm, as I call it, or the digital space, I think of it as a two-sided situation, or two-sided thing. Technology and the digital tools out there, they kind of enable a lot of people in the world to do great stuff, really cool stuff. But then on the other hand, technology and the digital tools are very ubiquitous, so it's everywhere. So it's a lot of people have access to tools. So my question in this context would be, based on your experience, how do you deal with this omnipresence, this abundance of options, both on the client side and also on the vendor side? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of competition. So someone who was in, I don't know, some other part of the world, and then he couldn't even think of having a client in North America, for example. Now they can do so, but then there's competition. So what do you think it should be the focus in standing out against, or stacking out against all the competition out there in the digital world?
Yeah. So I first of all, I think that we're still early in this abundance, and we will see at least the couple million new entrants into this space, and in the coming years, and because there are still so many people who don't have the internet. So if you plug half of the world more into this system, then you will have even more of it. What I think that what happens currently is that all of the agencies that are started today, most of them, 90% of them, are trying to reinvent the wheel, and everything that they do, they try to learn and figure out for themselves, and so structuring it and understanding that practically this digital world is simple. You just need to make decisions based on data and follow best practices. Yeah, so structure and organization and processes is what everyone needs.
So Janis, with this platform you're creating, could I essentially, as a business, manage my own internal agency? Do I need to work with an agency? Can I create my own internal agency using this platform? Will it empower me to essentially be the captain of my own fate, so to speak?
Definitely, you will need to be a captain, and this is what every businessman needs to realize. You are the captain, and you are the decision maker. You will make it or break it, we are looking forward to that situation when there will be agencies that are completely run on Fulfilly. It's not yet the case. We are currently most able to help when we plug into agencies with some parts of our technology or process and try help them to make their existing businesses more efficient. But also there are some new people who are coming and starting agencies, and we are helping them as well with technology.
I find this interesting. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, kind of what happened to the travel industry.
I like this comparison.
Okay, where the power went to the people, right? I mean, I don't need an agency anymore to book a trip, to do pretty much anything. I can
Exactly.
do everything. So in essence, you're kind of saying that the writing's on the wall. If you're an agency that's built behemoth business around a lot of people doing planning and strategy and execution, and if I can digitize all that and I've got a platform available to me, I could essentially, just like the travel space, not need access to that middle person anymore. Is that an accurate assessment? I mean, it sounds like a pretty big disruption to me.
To me, it sounds like you've heard me speaking before, because this is that I've been repeating many times over this year, that digital agency world and digital services world is very similar to how the world looked before hospitality industry evolved with booking.com or hotels.com and similar platforms where you can go and just select the best option out of many. And before, let's say, booking.com was invented, you were going to the travel agent or you were asking your friends, so where is that very nice hotel you went to Sicily, can you give me an advice? And this is exactly what's currently happening in this digital world. Still, majority of projects are started via personal networks and referrals, so it's very similar to that industry.
Of course, if you go to Sicily, you have to go visit the Grand Hotel in Taormina. That's one of the best places to go.
Now I know.
So, wow. And how does this fit into the gig economy too? I mean, is this going to create opportunity for individuals that perhaps have worked for agencies that want to go and branch out on their own? And what would that look like for them to get set up?
So I'm talking very often with digital agency executives and owners, and you need to know that majority of digital agencies are small. They're up to 5 people. Like more than a half of digital agencies are small teams, right, in the world. So which means that very often freelancers are one step away of starting an agency and starting a business, and it's just a mindset. So I believe that many millions of people will start businesses, and they just need to treat it as a business. It's more organized, more structural entity than freelancing, yeah.
So is the platform going to have any kind of intelligence like AI or anything of that nature, or do I still need to know some good marketing and advertising block and tackle strategies?
So you still need to provide value. So your value proposition comes first, and it doesn't matter. So we say it doesn't. So a project can get started anywhere. So you can go to a cafe and meet a person who become your client, and you still need tools to serve them, like back office tools and different technologies that you would use for the project management. and yeah, so you still need to provide value because otherwise nobody will buy from you. So you need to figure out. And what we see, best agencies are very deeply specialized. And when you are really specialized, you can charge higher rates. You have stronger brands, and your teams are less stressed out because they don't need to reinvent something every day, and they can meet deadlines, etc. So deep specialization and understanding what you are doing and what value you provide is really important and will always be.
Lara, I think you had a question.
Yes. So, Janis, in your own experience as a digital agency, what do you think needs to be done right to grow? I mean, what would be your advice for digital agencies that are willing to grow?
So I think that in the very essence, you really need you really need to want to help your client, and because they have a challenge, and if you're specialized in solving that challenge, then this is all you need. So just commitment and passion to love what you do and always delivering that, because you will always get reviews, right?
Yeah. So unlike the travel space, I mean, you still need people that can provide expertise and subject matter expertise in certain verticals or offerings, because that's ultimately going to build the trust you need with that agency, right? And ultimately their customers. So, so are you proposing that small agencies who adopt this technology should be very vertically focused? Because there's some who go kind of like a catch-all to everything, right? And it's hard to believe they could do everything. But so what I'm hearing is you're proposing a very focused approach. So if you deal with dentists, just focus on dentists. If you deal with speakers, focus on speakers. What's your advice for those who are thinking about branching out on their own, and maybe now they have access to technology to do it? What's your advice to them to be more?
Actually, focusing on sector or an industry is also good when there are huge industries where you need to gain experience and expertise. But also focusing on the digital landscape is so huge, so you can be focused on UX UI. You can be focused on any of so many technologies like WordPress or Magento or Python or JavaScript or anything else, and it's all very needed. You can be focused on strategy side of it, on business side of it. So not only in industry, focusing on industries, but also focusing on very narrow parts of the service offerings. And you're right about people trying to say that they're full service when they are 1 or 2 or even 5 people. It's impossible to be full service with small team.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, sometimes these small agencies are trying to compete with the big boys and girls, right? It's like, we have it all, we can do it all. But what I'm hearing is be more narrow, and even not just even in a vertical, like in specifically what you're offering, right? So it's very common for a lot of digital agencies. Says, oh yeah, we do UX, UI design, we do the execution. You're saying, you know what, that's a little too much to chew. And ultimately, is it that customers are wanting more of that focused area, or is it just bandwidth doesn't allow you to be effective to do more than just one focused area?
Yeah, it all comes in the end down to efficiency, because only efficient organization can, and most of agencies, they are on a roller coaster by means of cash flow and profitability. So those that are most efficient and can fill their hours with work, with billable work, in the end win. And if you know exactly what you are going to do tomorrow and after a month, this is where your efficiency kicks in, and you can run a successful organization and hire more people because you know exactly what the next person will do.
Well, we're running up on time. Anybody else have any other questions? Do we have any questions from audience members, Carlos or Ruben?
Not coming in so far. However, I'd like to remind the audience that if you're watching this either now or in the future, right there on our website, if you have any questions for Janis, you can submit them on Twitter, on our Twitter feed, and of course send them to Dojo Live. And then pretty much all the info and the contact info for Janis is going to be right there on the website. So keep an eye for that, folks.
Yep.
Well, Janis, great to speak with you. Love to reconnect perhaps in 6 months, a year, to see where you're at and understand the progress you're making. And love to hear some case studies and see where things are going for you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Janis, thank you for having been with us today. This is
My pleasure.
2019's last interview, so we're going away for a little bit. So thank you so much. And if there's anything else, any final words of wisdom for the audience that you want to leave them with?
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye on us, and we are looking forward just to make great businesses for many of you. So if you're running or starting a digital agency, just reach out and we are happy to discuss and chat.
Thank you for being with us, Janis.
Yeah. It was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, Tulio, Laura, and Janis.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us the entire year. See you in a few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.